Somewhere in a forest, a knight in luxurious armor wakes up confused. He remembers falling asleep while playing a video game the night before and now waking up looking like his game character. Deciding to test his skills, he realizes that he can perform all the attacks and spells that his game character could, only now they're even more powerful. He can even use some skills that he couldn't use in the game. Getting hungry, he realizes he has no money or food and decides to travel to a city using a short-range teleportation spell. Seeing his reflection in a river, he realizes that he looks like a skeleton because he chose the skeleton avatar while playing the game. Since every human being would think he was a monster, he decides to hide his face at all times and draw as little attention to himself as possible. Arriving in a town called Louverd, he wanders around, realizing that he needs to find a job. Entering an alley, he hears a pink-haired elf arguing with someone. Excited to see a real elf, he tries to approach her but loses her in the crowd. Entering a mercenary guild, the knight asks the guild master for a mercenary license. To avoid suspicion, the knight starts acting like a noble paladin and convinces the guild master that he needs the license, even though he looks rich. To get the license, he needs to hunt 3 creatures: bandits, beasts, or monsters. Later, somewhere in the forest, the knight defeats 2 boars when an orc attacks him. Excited to see his first orc, the knight cuts it in half with a blow from his sword. Later, during the journey back to the city, the knight comes across a band of thieves who attack the carriage. After killing all the guards, the bandits prepare to attack the 2 remaining women. Hiding in the bushes, the knight is reluctant to help, not knowing if he will be able to face so many people at once. Finally, he makes up his mind and appears among the bandits, killing 3 of them with a single blow. The rest try to flee, but the knight defeats them too with a blow from his flying sword. Grateful for saving them, the women introduce themselves as Lauren, a royal from the Louvre family, and her escort Rita. When the 2 aren't looking, the knight takes the loot from the bandits. As they walk back together, the knight introduces himself as Ark. Without telling anyone, he remembers his character's backstory in the game. His character was a cursed knight who traveled the country in search of a way to cure himself. Back in town, Ark gets his mercenary license by showing the guild master the boars and orcs he's killed. Settling happily into a room in an inn, Ark orders an entire feast for himself and enjoys it wholeheartedly. He concludes that this is not just a game but real life and looks forward to his future missions, laughing out loud. One day, Ark responds to a request to help a girl choose some medicinal herbs. Not wanting to draw too much attention to himself, he decided to only accept discreet jobs like this. Entering a quiet village, he meets a girl called Marka. At first, she is frightened by Ark's formidable appearance, but quickly becomes enthusiastic about him. As they walk through the forest, Marka tells Ark that her mother is working hard every day to gather medicinal herbs and now she wants to help her by doing it herself. While they are traveling, Ark senses a creature watching them, but it turns out to be just a small green fox with many tails. Realizing that it is injured, Ark heals it with a spell. Fully recovered, the fox doesn't want to leave Ark and takes her with him, naming her Panta. Arriving at a clearing, Ark and Marka find the plant they were looking for. Suddenly, a gigantic dragon-like monster appears behind Marka. Before it can attack her, Ark rescues her and confronts the monster. Avoiding its poisonous breath, Ark realizes that he is fighting a giant basilisk, a very dangerous high-level monster. The basilisk attacks him, but Ark manages to stand his ground against it, dodging and blocking its sharp claws and long tongue. Continuing to block the basilisk's attacks, Ark summons a gigantic sword of light from beneath him and kills it with one blow, amazed at his own power. After the fight, Ark asks Marka not to tell the villagers that he killed the basilisk so that he doesn't stand out. He also notices a strange ring around the basilisk's leg, but it disappears before he can examine it. When they return to the village, Marka meets up with his mother, who is worried but happy that nothing has happened to her daughter. At sunset, Ark and Marka say goodbye and Marka's younger sister gives Ark a wreath. That night, in another place, a squadron of knights fights and barely manages to defeat another giant basilisk. They find the corpse of the dead basilisk and are amazed when they realize that it was killed with a single blow. Back at the inn, Ark and Panta enjoy dinner. Thinking of Marka's gratitude, Ark decides to undertake more challenging missions in the future and help more people. One night, Ark is chasing some bandits in a cave. Some time has passed and Ark has gotten used to doing missions. After defeating the bandits, he finds chests full of gold and 2 empty cages. In a royal palace, an attendant reports to a short, fat man called called Triton, the lord of the city of Diento. Turns out that Triton sent the bandits to assassinate Lauren and the basilisks who attacked the area around Liviert, so he is outraged that both his plans have failed. He has been secretly hired by a man called de Kars, one of the princes of the Rotten Kingdom. Kars wants to take over Liviert because it is strategically important for attacking the Western Kingdom. Triton also runs an illegal trade in elven slaves, and his son, Uldren, is currently accompanying the slaves. Back in the cave, Ark is ambushed by a hooded woman. She attacks him fiercely, but he manages to fend her off. When her hood falls off, he recognizes her as the pink-haired elf he saw in town earlier. The elf is convinced that Ark is one of the bandits who kidnapped the elven children she came to rescue. However, when she sees Ponta, she stops attacking. She recognizes that Ponta is a spirit creature, and such creatures would never accompany an evil person. Realizing that Ark is not a bandit, she apologizes to him and says that she came here to save the elves who were kidnapped and sold into slavery. Ark tells her that he saw empty cages in the cave and offers to help her find the elves, but she refuses, saying that it's a problem for the elves to solve on their own. Before Ark can say anything else, she leaves. Later, at the inn, Ark decides to try to find the pink-haired elf again, since she is the first elf he ever met. The next day, Ark teleports around trying to find the elf. He is exploring the elven forest when Ponta hears something. Nearby, a group of elf hunters capture a runaway elf slave. They take her back to their camp, where there are 3 more elves in a cage. Uldren, who is Triton's son, cruelly threatens the runaway elf. Ark sees all this hiding in the bushes, but before he can do anything, the pink-haired elf appears and attacks the elf hunters. Several hunters attack the pink-haired elf, but she defeats them all without any problems. Suddenly, Uldren takes the 4 captured elves hostage, telling the pink-haired elf to stop attacking. Seeing that she is in trouble, Ark comes out of the bushes and knocks Uldren out, allowing the pink-haired elf to finish her fight. Later, they realize that the captured elves have mana-eating collars that drain their magical power. The pink-haired elf can't remove them, but Ark undoes them without any problems and heals all the elves' wounds. Some hooded elves arrive and retrieve the captured elves, who thank Ark before leaving. The pink-haired elf introduces herself as Ariane and tells Ark that she has never met a kind and powerful human like him. Convinced that she can trust him, Ariane wants to hire Ark as a mercenary and he accepts. The two travel to the city of Diento, where they meet Donka, one of Ariane's elven comrades. Sitting in an inn, Donka tells them that he has discovered the location of a building in Diento where more kidnapped elves have been taken. They decide to wait until late at night to break into the building and rescue them. That night, Ark together with Donkao and Ariane set off, not realizing that a ninja is following them. Ark teleports the 3 of them to the roof of the building and they sneak in through a window. Going deeper, they are surprised to see corpses in some rooms, all dead in the same way. Splitting up, each of them searches another part of the building. Entering one of the rooms and finding more corpses, Ark is attacked by the ninja who was following him before. He realizes that the ninja is a woman with animal ears and a tail. The ninja stops, realizes that Ark is not one of the bandits and apologizes to him. Assuming that Ark has come to save the elves, she tells him that most of them are trapped underground, while 2 are being held captive in the Lord's palace. She gives Ark a scroll and leaves through the window, mysteriously saying that they will meet again. Ark opens the scroll and finds a contract for the purchase of elven slaves. Meeting up again with Ariane and Donka, the 3 of them realize that the contract mentions the Lord of Diento. While they are talking, a band of bandits enters and attacks them. Ariane ignites her sword with a spell and burns them, easily defeating them. Finally reaching the underground dungeon, Ark and the others free the trapped elves. Ark teleports everyone out of the city. While Donka stays with the rescued elves, Ariane and Ark go to the Lord's palace. They break in noisily and alert the guards, but manage to hide in time. They smash through a wall and break into the Lord's chamber, where they see Triton together with Uldren and the 2 kidnapped elves. Triton gets angry, but Ariane kicks him in the groin, stopping him. While chasing Uldren in terror, Ark accidentally finds a hidden room. While the 2 kidnapped elves beat Triton, a group of guards enter the room. Ariane defeats them with her flaming sword and tells the 2 elves to meet Donka. Ark discovers that the hidden room is full of gold, which he decides to take with him. Having teleported out, Ariane thanks Ark and pays him for his mercenary work. As Ark has no other missions to do at the moment, Ariane invites him to go with her to the Elven lands and continue helping her rescue elves kidnapped by other humans. Ark is excited but doesn't show it and agrees to go with her. To get permission to enter the Elven lands, he will have to meet an old elf. Ark says he can never remove his helmet, but Ariane promises promises she won't attack him if he shows his face. Ark removes his helmet and Ariane is shocked by his skeletal appearance. Instead of telling her the truth about being transported to this world, he tells her that one day he woke up in these lands looking like this. She recognizes that he isn't really an undead skeleton and tells him that she trusts him, promising to keep his true appearance a secret. They shake hands, agreeing to continue working together. A few days later, in Olaf, capital of the Rodhen Kingdom, the king called Carlin talks to his sons and daughter. They are discussing the incident at Lord Triton's palace, without knowing the details. Sect, the first prince, claims that the elves are responsible for the incident. The Lord of Diento was previously accused of violating the treaty between humans and elves by selling elves as slaves. The second prince of Dakar angrily disagrees, saying that Sect shouldn't accuse the nobility just because of rumors. King thinks that an investigation should be conducted. Uriarna says that if the rumors about Triton are true, the elves may decide to break their trade agreements with Limbal, the only realm that trades with them. If someone from Diento makes the elves stop trading magic equipment and rune stones with the humans, the Rodhen Kingdom would be held responsible and tensions would rise. King orders Uriarna to go to Limbal and arrange a talk with the elves. Traveling towards the elves' lands through a forest, Ariane Ark arrives at a river, where they set up camp and spend the night. The next day, back at Olaf's, Uriarna talks to the attendant, Ferna. She's worried to learn that Dakars is involved in the elf trade and Sect also knows about it. Sect wants to eliminate Dakars so that he or Uriarna can succeed to the throne. Traveling through the forest, Ark and Ariane arrive at a huge gate surrounded by palisades, which leads to the elven settlement of Lalatoya. They approach a house inside a gigantic tree and the elder, a surprisingly young man called Dylan, greets them along with his wife called Glenys. To Ark's surprise, the elder and his wife are Ariane's parents. Entering a house, they chat over tea and then have dinner. Ariane tells her parents all about Ark's true appearance, so he takes off his helmet and they all eat together peacefully.